How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thursday's Overwatch League matchups were pretty interesting, and I found myself thinking about a few different things after watching the games. The first thing I wanted to discuss with you guys is the Boston Uprising. They looked pretty good against the Seoul Dynasty last night. Boston managed to take the series 3-1 while looking like the better team for most of the game. And of course, they pulled off this impressive victory with Fusions back in the lineup, so this begs the question, are the Boston Uprising better off having Fusions play over Axiom? The evidence would suggest that this team is absolutely better off having Fusions be their main tank. In the 3 games Fusions played so far, his team has gone 2-1. The only loss he's had came against the NYXL, and there's no shame in losing to those guys. They're arguably the best team in the league right now, and even so, the Uprising still managed to put up a pretty decent fight in that game. The one match that Axiom played main tank in resulted in an embarrassing loss against the Shanghai Dragons. Am I saying that the Uprising definitely would have won that game if Fusions played? No, we don't know that for sure. We don't know if he would have impacted the results, but you have to think that their chances would have at least gone up a little bit with Fusions in there. I find it kind of interesting that the Uprising want Fusions playing more than Axiom. Fusions was originally supposed to be a two-way player who maybe played in a game or two each stage. Everyone was hyping up Axiom a lot too, but now it seems that we'll never see him live up to that hype because Fusions has basically stolen his starting position from him. I think the Uprising are better off this way though. The team just seems to play better with him. Fusions is a god-tier shot caller and communicator, and his leadership is without a doubt better than Axiom's. You can see it on stage. The team looked kind of lost at times during that Shanghai game, but every other game they seem to look a lot more organized. Could it just be a freaky coincidence where the team as a whole just had an off day during the Shanghai game? Sure, it's possible, but the more likely answer is that Fusions is just a better option at this position. I really am impressed with how well the Boston Uprising have been playing lately. I thought for sure they'd be pretty bad coming into this season, but it would seem that as of right now, I'm wrong. You'd think this team would be struggling since they don't have players that are as talented as some of the other rosters out there, but that just hasn't been an issue for them. I'm sure most of us thought this team synergy might not be that great at the start since they've been making all of these lineup changes, and the fact that Fusions has only been in Los Angeles for a few weeks, but neither of these things have been a problem. The tank line of Color Hex, Fusions, and Note have looked really good. I don't know how the Boston Uprising do it, man. You can never count this team out. Even when they lose their best players from last year, they still find ways to get it done. Fusions is a god, and I fully expect him to only get better as the season progresses. Now let's move on to topic number 2, which is the Seoul Dynasty. They seem to be in a very similar situation to the Dallas Fuel, where the teams look strong in the games they win, but horrible in the ones they lose. I thought for sure that this team would be cruising to a Stage 1 playoff spot with Fissure being on the team, because being able to play around him in a meta where the main tank is doing a large amount of the damage seems like a recipe for success. They looked fantastic in their 2 wins this year, and I don't understand why they weren't able to replicate that in the games they've lost as well. The Dynasty are not playing at their best right now, and that's really bad when you realize that their next opponent is the NYXL. This is not a team you want to be facing when you're trying to bounce back from a tough loss. If the playoffs started today, then the Dynasty would be on the outside looking in. Losing another game would make it difficult to squeak into the playoffs. Boston, London, and Dallas are all right behind them, so the Dynasty can't afford to keep losing. Something needs to change right now, or we could see the same exact team from last year, where they're supposed to be really good, but end up disappointing everyone by never even making it to the playoffs once. Moving on to the final topic of the video, let's talk about the Hangzhou Spark. This is yet another team that's been suffering from consistency issues. The team started off really good by going 2-0 in week 1, but since then they've lost 3 straight games, and they've looked horrible in every single one of those losses. Losing 3-1 to the London Spitfire, Houston Outlaws, and San Francisco Shock, all in a row like that is really going to hurt your team's confidence. I've talked about this before on the channel, but I worry about some of these expansion teams with all of their rookie players. None of them know what it's like to overcome adversity while playing against this kind of competition. The question is, why are the Spark playing so bad all of a sudden? I personally think the answer lies within their tank line. They don't look like the same players that we saw during week 1. They all don't seem to be on the same page for some reason. They seem to be indecisive at times, and their teamwork in general has looked kind of weak. Part of the problem is that they continue to switch between Guxue and Nosmite at main tank. No disrespect to Guxue at all. The man's a legend. The problem is his communication. Being the only Chinese player in the lineup can make it very difficult to shot call. The whole team ends up struggling to communicate as well, because now everyone is forced to speak English as a middle ground since learning Chinese and Korean is really difficult. The team would be better off just playing Nosmite for now, I feel like, and maybe once all of the tank players finally fix their mistakes, then you could try putting Guxue back in. But that might end up messing things up again. It's kind of hard to tell with these things, but I kind of feel bad for Guxue. He is not on the right team. He needs to be on the Chengdu Hunters. They're a full Chinese roster, so there wouldn't be any language barriers for him to overcome there. But anyway, the Spark have to act now. They need to figure things out before this losing streak gets too out of hand. A Stage 1 playoff appearance is hanging in the balance. There's still a chance they can make it there, but they have to start winning again if they want to accomplish this. And with that being said, that's everything I got for you guys today. Feel free to let me know how you feel about all of the subjects that I've touched upon in this video. If you enjoyed today's content, then be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, this is ATP, signing out. Peace.